What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. Um, Sorry about the lighting in here. I'm in my RV, just so you can see here. I'm on another RV trip with my wife and family. You can see, I was looking at a video on, it was on Facebook, and the guy had all his Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces and stuff, and that's all fine. But I was thinking to myself, you can't live in that. You can live in that Lamborghini when if you need to. I can actually live in. A lot of people live in these. I was kind of shocked. I knew, kind of heard that people did. They traveled all around and they lived in, but people actually really do live in them. And I'm at one of the RV parks right now with my family, and my daughter and son-in-law got a cabin over here. It's that Yogi Bear. I think they got those parks all over the United States. Um, but it's a lot of fun, and I relax when I come to them. And I want to make this video because there's something, uh, well, a few things. The first thing, which is the good thing, so I'll start with the good, and then we'll go into it's not considered bad, but just something that's changing. And I'm also, if I look over to the side, I'm watching one of my grandchildren. He's taking a nap, 1-year-old Everett. Uh, he's taking a nap right now. My wife and son-in-law and grandson and my daughter, they're racing those little cars. They got those remote control cars, and they got like this racetrack that the kids can take their remote control cars on. Right now, just some reason is losing the signal. He's right across from me, so I got to keep my eye on there, but it'll come back up. But the good thing is the results are coming in the mail. It looks like the bureaus are getting back on track from what we went through for the last year or year and a half with COVID. It looks like stuff is coming through. People are getting the results in the mail, because a lot of people would think that things are not happening just because they're not getting stuff in the mail. And we had changed it up to where we were doing the furniture disputes, furniture debt validation verifications, also to kind of keep the process rolling. But now the bureaus have gotten back active and they're getting stuff out to people. So I'm very happy to have that happen. The other thing that has me a little bit, I don't want to say like to scare anyone that it's like a concern, but it is something that I didn't expect to happen. And it's when debt collectors take people to court, there was always something that they didn't do, and I'll reveal it now because it was one of our strategies to kind of hang up the court summons or the court process and get them either to negotiate, or sometimes they would just drop the whole court case because it was a piece of information that they were never able to get. Well, there was one that I received that I did in a review the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact. I did a review of someone sent their court summons in, and I did a review, and I must admit, I was shocked when I saw this. They actually unredacted the entire account number. Now, let me tell you why that's so important, because we all know that when you go to court, you have to prove everything. You have to, you could fight and you can make them get documentation, even though, you know, by the evidence, the way that it's submitted, it looks 100% like it's your account. But you have a right to make sure that that's your account, because you can say that you have multiple accounts. Well, what they're doing now is, well, with this one, I haven't seen it with any other ones, is that they're unredacting the entire account number. And the reason why the most third-party debt collectors, they haven't been able to get that information, is because they were buying from a bulk, and then they were just giving all the information. And once they're given that information, they don't care. Original creditor didn't care to do anything with them anymore. It's like, it's your stuff, it's your accounts, it's your problem. And so they wouldn't have unredacted account numbers, because, and I believe that that was because of privacy. When I do the pro se document summons responses for people for their court summons or citations, is that one of the things that we argued in there is that we said we wanted to make sure that that we got a fully unredacted account number, because that's very important, because you know, just like I said earlier, you could have another account with them, last four digits could be similar, and it's not that account. So you have to know everything so you can determine what your next action would be. And that, using that process would either get cases dismissed because they couldn't get that information, or would just hang it up, and then it would put them into a very good situation to settle. And that's what most people would end up doing, is that they know it's their account and it's gonna keep moving forward, and they would say, okay, we want to do a settle. And again, those were with accounts that were more fresh. I'm not talking about accounts that were maybe close to the statute of limitations time frame. These are ones where they charged off a year ago. Well, in the one that I just received yesterday that I reviewed, it had a totally unredacted account number. And so what they did is they're like, hey, boom, we're gonna unredact it. So is this your account? And so when I looked at that, and it wasn't a third party either. So one thing that was different, it wasn't a third party, but it was a lawyer that was a debt collection lawyer that was hired by the original creditor, which was a credit card company. Credit card company is the plaintiff, not the third party debt collector or the attorney. So I believe that was probably the reason why they were able to do it, get it unredacted. And so if you think about it, like what they do when they sell the debt, they give them an affidavit. Now, one thing that I had learned while I was reading all of these affidavits is that the affidavits is one affidavit for all of the debt, one affidavit for all of that, so it doesn't specifically speak to your specific account if you have an account with them. So there's a lot of ways that you could kind of break that down in your responses to make them have to do more than what they've just gave to the court to try to prove that the debt is yours. And so what we had done, and the first thing that we had did, is we said we want to unredact all of the account numbers, because what they would do is they would send redacted account numbers. They would send redacted account numbers on the statements, redacted account numbers on the statements. And what the logical thing that someone would say is like, if this is me, sorry about that. Looked like my grandson had an accident. They need to get a band-aid, so I had to interrupt the video. So if the logical thing is that if all of this stuff is about you, why do you have it redacted? If it's about me, if you're trying to prove that this is my account, why would you redact the statements and the account number and the summons, all of that stuff? And so we would challenge that, and they, as a third party debt collector, were not able to get that. I will let you know if I start seeing third party debt collectors unredacting account numbers, because if they start doing that, it is going to flip the entire game of court summons if they start to do that. But there will probably be some type of court challenge on them getting information that they shouldn't be getting, because there's privacy issues, all types of stuff when a third party buys that information and then they're doing whatever with it. I mean, it could be a little tricky with that. So I'll keep you up to date if I start seeing third party debt collectors get them. But from what I'm seeing now, original creditors are doing full court summons with an unredacted account number, and that's going to kind of force the cut. That's going to force that individual to be more into a settlement process. Now, let me tell you, good news on that though, is that the debt collect. I mean, the original creditors, these credit card companies, they're starting to figure that, hey, we're selling this debt for pennies on a dollar to third party debt third party portfolio companies who entail either go after the old debt or they sell them off to other collection agencies. We've been selling them for pennies on a dollar when we could just try to settle for whatever amount is better than pennies on a dollar. One of my clients, he's a business associate. He is in the diamond business, selling millions of dollars in diamonds. And when COVID hit, he went down to where he had no income. I'm talking about really no income. The diamond wholesalers that he was selling diamonds to were bouncing checks, and he had showed me. He was like, Steve, here's a check for 50,000. Here's a check for 100,000. Here's a check for 10,000. Here's a check for 20,000. They all bounced. I'm talking about 150, $200,000 in bounce checks to him. And he was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't sleep. I don't. He didn't even want to let his wife know about it. He didn't even want to let his wife really know about it. And I was like, hey, you got to settle down. You got to tell your wife what's going on, and we got to just put together a plan to try to work out of this. He did not want to file bankruptcy. He wants to keep his business. He wants to try to work his way out of it. And I told him, I said, hey, what? It's going to come back up. People are going to start buying this stuff again. You just got to figure out a solution to be able to work, to get through it. And I told him that if you're not filing bankruptcy, and he talked to a bankruptcy lawyer, and he said that that's not the route he wanted to go. I said you're going to have to figure out a plan on settling these credit card debts. He was kind of using credit cards to kind of float his business, and I said we're going to have to settle them one at a time. And he was like, it overwhelmed him so much to where he would be blowing up my office line, emailing me all this stuff. And I had told him the first thing that he had to allow the credit card companies to do was to charge off the debt. So the way that it was happening for him, this is the exact process. And this is where people get so frustrated, but I tell people this is what you're going to go through. And I went through it in the 90s when I had my issues with credit and debt. And I still, as a matter of fact, I still haven't found anyone that was in more debt than me and my wife, over $300,000. And we worked our way out of it. It took us 4 years to do that. From 1994 to 1999. Is that 4 years or 5 years? 5 years. Well, 5 years to work our way out of it. So you have to learn patience. You have to know that things are not going to happen overnight. And when it's all over and said and done, it's like, in a way, it's like it never happened because you've changed as a person financially. Your credit is back in order. You're moving forward. You've worked your way through it. But when you're going through it, it's very tough. And I told him, I said, you're the number first thing. He was like, Steve, I want to contact them about doing settlements. And I was like, you can contact them. I can contact them. And I did. At first, what I did is I said, I'm going to do it what you want me to do. We would contact every credit card company, and all they wanted to do was do payments. And he said, well, why are they not wanting to settle right now? And I said, they don't want to settle right now because they have to charge off the card. And he was like, no, they should just take the money. No. I said, as long as they feel that they have hope with you, they are going to uh, try to get payment arrangements with you. And so he went through that phase. He went through that phase. I mean, that was like the peak of his frustration when he went through that phase. And then they started charging off the cards. And when they started charging off the cards, we sent in and we said we want to do the settlement, hardship, all that stuff. We had sent the letters to them and actually contacted them. When we would contact them, they would just take us through all types of loops. Like, I was like telling them they really are not ready to do anything. But because he said he wanted to do it, I said we'll send them. But I'm just telling you from experience, they're not ready to do anything yet. And he said, well, when are they going to be ready? I said, it's going to take about 6 months before they're really ready to do anything. Sometimes it could be quicker. They might offer something sooner, but we'll just be proactive. Also, like we always want to be proactive, but I'm just telling you, be prepared. They may not want to do nothing for 6 months. So month was going by, months were going by. They had charged off the debts, and by the third month, they had started, uh, sending third-party debt collectors to try to, um, that they hired to try to work out deals, and they wanted payments. And I said, we're gonna have to, just let them know we want to do. We want to do settlements. They didn't want to work with him on the settlements. They just tried to do the payments. I said, let it go a little bit further. Once it went a little bit further, and remember, I'm watching my grandson here. He's sleeping here. Uh, Once it hit that 6 month mark, then they started going for settlements. The first one that went through was for $2,300 on I think it was 11,000 or $12,000 credit card. Next one went through for $1,200 on an $800. American Express, which is the big one that he's trying to do, they came and we submitted to them $3,000, and on that balance was about $15,000. Yeah, about $15,000. I don't have his papers right here with me, but it was about $15,000. They didn't accept it. And he said, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "I can't make them accept your offer. I can't make them accept your offer. They have to accept it." Um, but let's go with the people that are accepting offers or that is talking. And I said some of the times the way this seems to be working is that they don't want to be involved. Where I might could send the information, but they're going to contact you because they think that if they get all of the money from you, that there's no middleman that's going to get some money. So this is the way that business is going right now. They're when they've dealt with debt, these debt settlement companies, they know that those companies are taking a piece of the action. So they're like, hey, we rather speak directly with the our client, and so we could get all of the money. Not giving you a piece of the money. And so I said that might happen. So what we had did is we sent them all out. We said you can contact us or you can contact him. They would always contact him, and I just told them what to say is to make your offers, and what your offer is where you're going to send them one time payment because you don't want to do any monthly payments because that's going to get you into more, just make your situation tough, and it also makes them, uh, gives them hope on stuff. And he would say that he's getting help from family to be able to do this. But he's on good track with those settlements. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end the video here. uh, if you have any court summons, I review them. It has to be a third party debt collector for my strategy to have a chance. If it's the original creditor, I would suggest that you contact them and try to work something out. You can either do lump sum, one time payment, or you can do payment arrangements if you're not able to do that. But the big thing is that you work out something so you'll be able to move forward in your life. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the number 3scores.com. And if you need my debt validation letter, my cease and desist letter, statute of limitations letter, all of those links are below here. And my t-shirt that is available, Good Credit Matters t-shirts are available also. All right. Thanks a lot. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. Until next time.